Dallas, it's so nice to see you. Congratulations on the new album announced today, and of course the new track as well.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you too. It's exciting to have the record kind of on its way out into the ether. I'm excited.
It sounds like a really, a very personal and very special record. And, if every album is a new chapter, I'm kind of curious as to what this chapter actually brought you as an artist.
Yeah, it was a heavy batch of songs to write. It's sort of following a really tough year for me personally. And I think I would even say that because I was writing the songs around the same time as the stuff for the Alexis record, I sort of really was able to just like streamline my grief and heartache and really focus on that on this side of my creative brain, So in one way it was like, okay, there's a magnifying glass on how I'm feeling. But I think it ended up being the most cathartic experience I've ever had making music, making this record.
I'm curious as to the new track Underground. When I first heard it, I was wondering if it was actually a companion song to Meant to Be.
Yeah, I think that the whole record is just one piece of music. I was definitely pulling from different things that had kind of gone on over the last few years, but I think in its entirety, it's just about loss and finding your way through that and putting it back together. And so, yeah, I think Underground is absolutely a companion. I mean, Meant to Be is the first track on the record. Underground is the second track. It just sort of happened that way. And I think they live in the same air.
When it comes to writing the song, I can't write a song to save my life, but I do get to wonder about who you write the songs for. For example, Meant to Be, it seemed like it was very, very clear, but when it comes to Underground, you're tired of running your life around, but you're also going to protect someone. Is there someone or person you wrote this for? Is that how your process works?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think certain lines that sort of, shoot the firing gun kind of thing, like the starting gun of a song is usually something very personal to me. And then I kind of, as I start building the song, it presents itself to me what I'm trying to sing about. And I think they always end up containing a lot of different subject matter, so some of this song is directed at one aspect of my life. But then sometimes I listen to it and I think I'm singing to myself. I'm even speaking to myself, like as much as I'm writing this sort of plea, that I'd like to stop running. I'm also wondering if I'm just saying that to myself, like running away from mistakes or even running from my grief and it's just sort of like a rallying cry, I guess, I
always like to say grief is a special kind of awful. But it sits beside you on the roller coaster?
Yes.
And when you're doing this, when you're kind of experiencing that in a songwriting process, now that it's going to be out there March 31st, The Love Still Held Me Near, is there something freeing about that? Is that part of your process? Do you think that you...
Yeah, for sure. I think because I've always written that way, when I was younger, that was something that made sense to me right away. As soon as I started writing and realized I could kind of get out of my own head, but then create it into this sort of like mildly esoteric song that someone could listen to and take whatever they wanted from it. It became this two-sided process of it becoming for someone else after it leaves me. And every time it happens, it's incredibly freeing because, I do write the songs for myself. It is something that I'm forever grateful that I've actually turned into like my life. But I still approach writing as this sort of like, okay, it's something I can just do, a skill I have, learned how to like help myself cope. But then when it can come out and be something other than that, like, yeah, it's beautiful.
What about when you sing these songs live? Is it an extra? Is it challenging? Is it freeing? Is it part of, again, is it similar, like in the same vein of putting it out there in the world?
Yeah, I think sometimes I don't even remember that I'm, and I think that's because of the monotony that the road can bring at times where I won't think about the weight of what I'm actually singing sometimes, because I'm just up there singing, having fun with my friends. And hopefully in those moments, I'm providing some sort of comfort for whoever is out there that's maybe it's a song that they feel a deep connection to. But occasionally I'll be singing and a line will just like kind of hit me like a train, and I'll like in that instant remember what I wrote it about. And that can be pretty heavy, but at the same time, it's very emotional and freeing in a different way,
When you talk about having fun on stage, I noticed that Matt Kelly, who's a longtime band member of yours, you produced the record together. Why was it so important to have, because you could work with anyone at this point in your career. You could just pick and choose. Why was it so important to have someone so close to the camp with you?
Well, first of all, I don't think the record or the Alexis record exists without Matt, because in the early sort of, I guess, the summer of 2020, which is when I started to think about a lot of stuff, trying to think about how am I going to work through all of this? Because I know I have to work through it, and I'm assuming it's going to come out in my music. So, how's that going to look? And it was conversations with Matt long before I was really like firing on all cylinders creatively that really helped unlock a lot of stuff inside that I was holding on to that I didn't realize I was. And then Matt was there from the inception of so many of my songwriting ideas that by the time we were ready to go into the studio, it was like I knew exactly what I needed to make and how I wanted to make it. And Matt was there from the beginning, so I knew he was just going to help shepherd me along.
You talked about firing on all cylinders. I was curious because just melodically, sonically, the new track, Underground, is definitely a lot brighter, a lot more hopeful sounding, at least for my ears. But I was wondering, do those songs take shape quicker, or are they more of a challenging process? Is there certain things within this record, certain songs that kind of like quick, lightning in a bottle, and then others that just...
Yeah, I'll tell you, Underground was actually one of those ones that it was one of the first ones I wrote with this batch of new songs, and I had a pretty good idea of how I imagined it. And it was actually Matt had come to visit me, and I played him it was my 40th birthday, and I kind of sat in the basement and played him the sort of general idea of where I thought it could be. And really within a few hours, we had made the demo of the song, and it was one of those ones where it was just like, it just fell out. But also that was a great moment where Matt and I discovered a completely new version of our working relationship in that instance too. So Underground's a perfect example of it just being this real beautiful, happy accident kind of thing. But then other songs just take forever.
Fair enough. That makes sense. Is it the most, are the ones that come so quickly, are they the most fun usually to sing if the process is shorter? Is there something about that?
Well, it depends. But yeah, a lot of the times when you don't have to, fight for it.
Right.
It's always a lot more enjoyable.
So we're just so excited for the new record, The Love Still Held Me Near. Can you just give us a little more context about the title?
Sure. Yeah. It's the name of a song on the record, but I always try to find a phrase or something that to me encompasses the whole atmosphere of the record. And as much as that song is about something sort of more specific, I think the phrase is just really apt for how I got through all of this tumultuous time in my life. It was like I said, the record is about loss, but I believe it's more about getting through it. So it's just more about hope, you know, and that's what I feel like the love and the light are the things I held on to help me through it.
I'm really, I don't want to sound, I don't know. I want to say, like, I'm proud of you for being so vulnerable. I know that you have, a history of sharing, heart on sleeve, but this was a real hard time. And I think you're going to help a lot of people out as well by being so open.
Well, I hope so. I mean, because I know that it just helped me to be this way with it. And, that's all I hope for, is that, I was looking to help myself, but hopefully it can move on and help somebody else. Do you see that?
Yeah, it's now we got a message.
I have a feeling I know who that was.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never had that happen to me before on a
Neat. Yeah, there you go.
Neat. Well, it's because of this whole process, creating the album. Of course, right? Creating the album is always a process, but this one, of course, being so kind of emotionally charged. Do you think you're going to approach touring, recording, moving ahead? Also, the pandemic also got thrown into the mix. Do you think you have a new perspective as to how you want to soldier on, move forward?
Well, I noticed something last year when we were touring, all year with Alexis. It was, and I mean, I don't know if this will continue this way, but it seems strange where, like, the logistics of touring have never seemed harder, I think, because of, the world's broken and it's trying to find its way back. But the shows have never been more enjoyable. And it feels that way from both sides. Like, it felt like every night we played, we were like so thankful to be there doing it. And it felt like the crowd was so thankful to be there doing it too. And so I guess in a strange way, I'm trying to say that's how I'd like it to continue, as if it's just this real, celebration every night, that being in a room full of other human beings and sharing an experience together is just unbelievable. And there's nothing like it. No Zoom call or live session on the internet or anything like that can mimic what it feels like to have that energy exchange. So really, I just hope that's what continues.
So we're about to play the new track for the listeners who have never heard it, possibly today. And I wanted to know, we're going into underground. Can you give us a little context to the listeners who are hearing it for the first time?
Yeah, I think underground is generally just about the fragility of life and trying not to take that for granted. But written in a peppy little number, I guess.
That's perfect. It's very, very much a Carpe Diem track. It gave me some perspective for sure. And I'm looking forward to hearing more, definitely. So thank you so much, Dallas. It's been so great to see you. It's so great to chat with you. And I'm very excited for the new record. Congrats.
Thanks, Lana. Nice talking to you.
And I feel like hopefully we got a nice message from the universe in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think we did a little bit there, right?